Hey guys, and welcome back for another video. Today I'm going to be doing a little bit of a different style of video. I am going to be doing a making of the Emmeline Bags Necessary Clutch Wallet. So it's not my pattern, of course. I will leave a link in the description box where you can find this pattern. This is a wallet I made out of cork and vinyl with my new industrial sewing machine. So I wanted to do a few videos like this here and there, just because I like to, explore other people's patterns as well. So this is a really great wallet. This is the second one that I made. It has a zipper pouch, a little divider here. It has 16 card slots, a slip pocket here, a slip pocket there. You could even probably put your phone in there, depending on how big your phone is, and then it just closes up. And it has a little snap here. The pattern calls for one of those little ones that goes through it and then you turn, but you can use whatever you want. But I think this one turned out really good. And yeah, so let's get into the making, and I hope you enjoy. Okay, so I went ahead and I prepped all of my pieces. This is going to be the main body of the wallet. And then this is the flap. These are the only two pieces you're going to print out if you get the pattern. And then the rest will just be measurements, rectangles and squares and stuff. So I am going to be making it out of this tan vinyl and then this swirly cotton. And I backed all my cotton with a medium weight interfacing. I think it's called Decor Bond. I have some zipper tabs. These are the two lining for the zippers and then the two outer for the zippers. Half is going to be a zipper pocket and then the other half is like a divider. This is the card slots, and this is actually double the size of the card slots. I took a tip from Size Swag, so if you know her on YouTube, she did it at the same time so you could fold it all at the same time, and then we're just going to cut it in half. And then this is the backing of the zipper pouch or card slots, sorry. And then we have this brown cork that came from Cork Supply, and then this swirly fabric. So I am doing this not live just because I do have this new machine. It's a Mitsubishi DY340. I will have a camera view from this side so that you can see the machine in action as well, but it is a newer machine to me. Of course, it's not a new machine, and and just in case it gives me any problems or anything, I want to be able to edit all that stuff out. So I do have a metal clasp that will be my closure. It is, okay, there you go. And then I did make a little strap with a D-ring. I think I'm going to add it. I'm not sure right now. We'll see how brave I get. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to work on is the card slots, and I'm just going to take these and then do a top stitching along the top of the card slots just to finish them off. So I will, this part will be sewn in, and then these folded parts will have a top stitching. Okay, so my machine does make noise when it's on because it's a clutch motor. If it had a servo motor, then it would not make noise, but we're working with old-fashioned stuff over here. Okay. And then I'm going to, I'll just be opening it up like this, and then that was pretty good. And then I'll flop it down and then go to the next card slot. not really used to the speed and the walking foot, it's just different than having a domestic machine. And this, while it could be made with a domestic machine, you just need to make sure you have a leather needle in your machine. Especially in for this type of project, you can do all the inner pieces and everything with your domestic, and then if you had a industrial, then do the last part. But like, you could just omit the cork and then do it with a cotton, the whole thing. Okay, I'm just gonna come over here and I'm gonna cut it in half quick. So there is some salvage left on this, but hopefully you won't see it. I am making this one for my mother. So I have now split those in half. I'm going to measure 4 inches in, and then I'm going to mark that, and then we're going to do a seam down the center to divide our slots. But I think first I'm going to sew them together, just because I did that the other way and it ended up having the card slots. Well, I mean, I guess it didn't really matter. Oh well, I'll just do it this way. Okay, so I'm sewing the bottoms of the card slots together. So when it'll look like that once it's sewn together. I'm still trying to coordinate the knee and the foot and the hand. Okay. Alright, so that's how it should look. And I'm just going to press that down, and then we'll line up our slots, and hopefully this will work. So now we can just test it out. And then there's going to be 1/4 of an inch seam allowance, so everything should fit perfectly. But that, okay, now I'm going to take the back of it. Fine. Okay, this is the back. I had everything organized before. Seems like it's a little bit big, but that's okay. We'll just have to trim off. But just make sure that it's all centered, because we want at least 1/4 of an inch on top of the card slots for the seam. And for this, we will just sew along the top and the bottom, and that's it.
bottom.
I tried to adjust the presser foot, not that I knew what I'm doing, but I tried to do that and I accidentally broke off a piece of the bolt. It just came right off. It was crazy. So I had to go replace that. But I still don't know what I'm doing with this type of machine. All right, so just gonna turn it right sides out, and then we'll finger press those seams. And then we'll do another top stitch along that. Okay. All right, it's getting hot in here. So next we're going to work on my zipper pocket, and we're going to take the tabs and get the zipper ready. It is a 6-inch zipper, and I'm going to take the tabs and put one and then another one underneath. I'm not one to use zipper tabs, but that's what the pattern calls for, so I'm gonna go along with that. And then I will sew that on. Turning it on. All right, this. No. Okay. This is not a professional video, that's for sure. All right, and then we're gonna do the other side. Like that. And we'll sew it on. And then we will flip the tabs and do a top stitch. Now, I didn't interface the tabs, but I think I should have. And I didn't do them very nicely. But you don't really see this part. And like I said, it's my second one. And it's going to my mom. Okay. Yeah. I would definitely use a thicker material for the tabs or interface them. Okay, so now we're going to take one of the large pieces and then one of the lining pieces. We will place that. Lots of threads. Here. Okay. And if you want to baste it on first before you do the next part, you can do that. But I'm just going to clip that and then take the lining and just do it all at one time. So that depends on your comfortability level, if you want to just do it all at one time, or you can do one side at a time. Okay. And then I need to be very mindful of that zipper pull, and then we'll sew. I'm going to go ahead and just move my zipper now just so that I don't have to worry about it. Then I'm going to do a top stitch. And make sure that everything is tucked underneath. Getting more and more comfortable as we go, and then putting that last outer piece, the big piece, on top, and then the last lining piece. Unzip, get that hole out of the way. And then open it up. I'll do the zipper up. Do another top stitch right along there. There you go. All right. So that's how it looks so far. And I'm going to put the outer panels together. I'm going to unzip it and then put the lining panels right sides together. Fold the zipper down towards the outer part. Clip that down. And then we'll sew all the way around except for a spot in this lining here. And we'll use that for turning. The tension's a little off because of the cotton. If I were to do this again, I probably would stick with the domestic machine for all of these thinner pieces. But I wanted to see how it would react with just, you know, just cotton, but the tension's not quite right for just cotton. So now I'm just going to turn the whole thing right side out. And then for this, it's going to be attached, so it's kind of going to be folded like this, and then that's sort of a divider, and then that is your zipper pouch. And then that's what the tabs will end up looking like, if you can see. And if you want to press it, you can. And now I'm going to do a top stitch. Just along this bottom edge here, and then close up the interior. I'll pull out this and close up that inside. And I usually just pull it. The edges will fold in. And then do a top stitch to close it up. And with I have like this nylon thread, and I think people like to just sometimes singe off the edges of those threads, which I'll do at the end. But yeah, so that is the second interior piece. And then that kind of goes on here. And that's basically the whole interior. So now we can work on our outer stuff, which is the part I usually get nervous at because there's a lot of top stitching that will be shown. So the first thing I'm going to do is place my clasp here, and I just kind of made there's a little hole or a little circle on the pattern, and I just made a hole in it so that when I go like this with a pen, it'll just draw on the fabric and I can see it. And then I need, for this one, I'll be doing the male end, which is the part that sticks out, and the female end is the part that has a hole. So this is going to be where the male end's going to go, and there's these two little prongs, so I just kind of line them up. And then I will stick my stitch ripper in there and then just cut a little slot. And not too big because you might accidentally go too far, but once you start sticking it in, it'll, you know, kind of make the hole bigger. So just enough for the tip to get through, and then it'll push through on its own. And then you have these little backing discs, and then you're supposed to push the prongs out away from each other. Oh, it's hard. That, and then put a piece of interfacing or something. I'm going to use some masking tape just to prevent any rubbing on the inside, and it just holds it into place better. So that is that, and now we can do our flap. I'm just going to clip all around it, and nice and slow we're going to go through the machine so that we can make sure our curves are nice and curvy. And we'll go. And when you're going around them, don't be scared to kind of just hand crank around those. Just go as slow as the machine will let me. I know it likes to take off on me. I missed a little spot, so we'll just go back. All right, there we go. That's better. Hard to find that sweet spot on the machine. So now I'm going to take it and I'm going to flip it right sides out, and then we will finger press all those little curves. Just kind of massage them into place. Actually, it looks really, pretty good. Yeah. Alright, now we'll do a top stitch. I like to go from the leather side just because that is the side that is going to be seen, and I want to make sure that that looks good. And we're going to, again, Okay. Not great, but not horrible either. All right. Well, it could have seen better days. Now, there is a different part of the pattern that calls for you to add another decorative piece to help with the flap staying together. But learning from other people, they just do like a nice little stitching line, and that will just add a little bit of decorativeness, and it'll stop it from, you know, coming apart like that, just in case. Do it from this side, actually. All right, it's gonna be harder from that side. So I'm using a disappearing ink pen, so hopefully that'll disappear. So this is how it's looking. It's not perfect, but this isn't supposed to be. All right. So now we are going to work on the main piece. And I learned from a few girls to cut a slit about 6 inches long. This is going to help us turn the bag. So we did that on the lining, and I'm going to take the outer panel. I'm going to find the center, and then I'm going to find the center, just folding it in half and snipping. And we're going to put it so it's touching, so the outer is touching the, and we'll attach it, and then we'll just do an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance just to baste it on. Now the two pieces are attached, and we will put the lining on, center that, and it's good to do that basting of the flap too, just because it will give it some extra strength. I will be putting the last clasp in after, and I'll be reaching into that hole to attach it. So that's why I haven't done it yet. I know that some people already have it marked out and they know where to put it, but I don't. All right. Not too bad. I'm getting better at those big. I'm just gonna cut off some of the excess because I'm not good at sewing. And I'm going to flip it through that hole. So once you assemble the whole thing, this hole will be completely covered up and you won't even know it's there. And again, depending on what materials you're using, if you want to press this, you can. That's how it's looking. Okay, let's see. So I'm just going to give you a little run through. Once all of this, so the card slots goes first, the zipper goes second, this kind of folds over. I mean, it won't, but you'll see after. But this is how I like to do my little test run, and then folding it over. So that's how it's gonna look. So that's how it's gonna look. So from here we can sort of gauge where our snap's gonna go. And if you want to make it a little bigger, I made it fit just perfectly, but I found that it was a little bit too low. And I just made like an indent with that button. Oops, see, that's, and I'm gonna take all the rest out, put it through. Oh, I found it. And a little disc, dropped it. Put that little disc in there, and then again we will push those prongs out. And then I'm going to put a piece of tape over it. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to do top stitch all the way around the whole thing. Okay, so I lost my bobbin thread, so I had to refill it. And then I wasn't recording all of that top stitching process, so I'm very sorry about that. But we have, I mean, it's not too bad. And like I said, super beginner when it comes to this stuff. And that's the thing about sewing, is that you can be sewing for a very long time, but sewing other things doesn't mean that you're an expert. You might know how to, you know, use a sewing machine, but. Okay, so first thing we're going to do now is to assemble the actual wallet. So I'm going to start by putting in my card slots, and you're gonna take this side here, making sure it's lined up, and we're gonna fold it over. And by folding it over, we're sort of going to clamp that card slot down, and then we are going to do a top stitching. I start from, you know, just to keep it along the same lines as the flap. So you want to make sure that it is as close as possible, and then that will keep this little flappy down, as well as sew through that. So it is a lot of layers when you're working with cork. And then we'll do it again. But if you are working with cotton, you might be able to get away with using your domestic machine. But this is why I really, really wanted a industrial, because it's sort of limitless in a way. And so now I'm just going to sew here and there. Okay. And I'm going to do a little bit of a bigger seam allowance, probably like 1/4 of an inch, just to make sure that I get all of those layers. Come on. There you go. Okay. And make sure, open it up, and there is no raw edges at all. I'm going to come from this side. Well, it's just I feel like I'm working with it backwards, but we can try. Make sure that that is puckering my cork. All right, looks good. A little bit of a mess up right there, but who's looking? All right, so from here, just test our little card slots. Yep. Looks good. A little tight on this side, but not tight that I can't. Yeah. Yeah, just right. Okay, now we're going to take this and making sure that our little zipper opens up on the left. We're going to put that centered. And I tried to use rivets. Well, I have screw-in rivets, but they're not big enough. So with this, we are going to sew it into place. And I'm gonna do that. It's kind of hard. I think they said to do a box. But you need to be really, really precise, because if not, then it won't look right on the other side. And when you're using the white stitching, you want it to look good. So, I don't know. Let's do it and let's hope, I guess. So apparently I can push the pressure foot thing all the way till it completely flips back over, and then I have to lift my machine and fix it. But that was okay. It was a quick fix. Just learning new things every day. Okay, so it didn't turn out that bad actually. So that should be the bottom. So you're not really gonna see it from the front. Oh my god, it closed on its own. I'm so excited. Oh, this is way better than my last one. Okay. So now these little floppy things are going to be sort of puckered, and they're going to go around the divider and then the zipper part. And then that will be the last part. And it's the hardest part, and a lot of people like to choose to do a rivet system. So they'll literally just put a rivet at the top of the fold. But I'm gonna do the sewing version. But I am going to swap out my thread for a black thread, just because I'm not super great at this part, and if I don't make it look perfect, then you won't be able to see it as good. So I'm just going to swap out that thread super quick. Okay, so now I'm going to, now that I have my thread swapped out, now we can just kind of figure out where the folds will be, and just kind of do it the same on both sides. I got these really heavy duty clips over at Walmart actually. So they're really great. They're just like little, I think they're in the tool section. So they're great for this type of heavy duty stuff. So you're just gonna figure out what looks even. Try to get the folds to go close to the top. So as you can see, trying to get it as even, and then it'll kind of accordion fold on itself. Looks good. Okay. All right, so this is a little bit tricky, but you want to just kind of move everything out of the way and then kind of stick it under the machine. So this will be a good view for you because a lot of people do choose to use the rivet method if you ever wanted to do the sewing method. This is how you're going to do it. And you're not going to sew all the way down, just enough to hold it in. Okay. Try again. Had to figure out my tension. So I'm just gonna go from like a 1/2 inch out, and then I will taper in. All right. Okay, so just making sure that I caught all the layers. It doesn't need to be connected all the way down, just as long as it's connected at the top, you're good. Now this is a little tight. Like I said, if you don't make it perfect, having a matching thread has a world of difference. Zipper out of the way. This is probably the thickest part of the whole thing, so that's why if you have a rivet press, might be a good idea to invest, which I think I will soon. Looks pretty good. So far I just need to snip off all of my threads. Okay, so here it is all done. I am super happy with this one. So as you can see, there's the box underneath. If you don't like the box, you can put rivets there to attach that piece, or you could use a matching thread. I don't quite mind it now. It actually does kind of shape the bottom. I didn't do it on the last one. I did rivets on the last one, but because of that box, it almost gives it like a box structure at the bottom. So it kind of, you know, just kind of makes it, I don't know, just makes it a little better, I think. So I don't mind that stitching anymore. Also looks kind of decorative. And then we have the zipper, we have the 16 card slots, we have 1, 2, 2 slip pockets, 3, 4, 5, like it's a really awesome wallet. And this one is going to my mother, and then the first one, it went to me. And hopefully I can make some more in the future, and then I can put them on my Etsy shop, because wouldn't you just love one of my made, no I'm kidding. Anyway, so I hope you enjoyed this video. Of course, give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not already, if you have hung around this long. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys.